Ooh.
Put your squad up.
Yo, what up, squad? What up, John? How we doing today?
Good evening, Dan. I thank you for being here this evening, this Thursday, May 20th evening, after the Yanks just finished the series with the Rangers. And what a series it was.
It was indeed. We have a lot to get into, but as we always do, let's set it off.
Winning out here.
When I said we was country.
Yo, once again, welcome to Out the Gate, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be your boy DC the Guide, here with my main man, my co-host, my partner in crime, John G_NY. We are here in the building, sort of. We're in our building, but we're in your headsets, your TV sets, whatever you want to call it. But what a difference a week makes. What did you say, John?
Oh, man. In regards to everything.
It's everything all around.
The weather is great here in New York. The Yankees are balling on the road, and they're finally coming home. You know, the Knicks are rocking. It's a different time here right now.
Yeah, indeed. Things are starting to look up. You brought up the road trip. Of course, it was a delightful one. 7-3 on the road trip. They won each of these series against the Rays, Orioles, and the Rangers, which is fantastic. That's a 700 winning percentage. Exactly what we needed, just at the right time. Obviously, with the Rays, that was a pretty big series in the sense where it's, taking 2 out of 3 down in Tampa, which is a place that we typically don't perform well in. The Trop is a terrible venue. Kind of go in there holding your breath because you don't know who's going to get injured. You don't know what's going to happen if a ball hits one of those catwalks that NASA engineers said would never be possible yet.
And it did happen. After we had that series, we got more injuries.
Indeed, man. Injuries is hitting catwalks. But Cole was masterful in that series. So were the bats. They came out. Obviously, you can't win them all, but taking 2 out of 3 to put yourself in some good positioning against the Rays. Now, unfortunately, afterwards, the Rays had something to say about it. And going up against the Mets, they swept them. And they just swept the Orioles as well.
Who doesn't?
Right. It's pretty much a giveaway to sweep the Mets at any given point, right? But that was certainly a really good thing to be able to do. We went down into Baltimore. You and I flirted with the idea of potentially going over there. Obviously, it turned out to be a pretty good road trip down to Baltimore, even though we didn't go personally. The team did go, and they took care of business. And, that's exactly what you want to see.
And Bree showed out. Bree went.
Bree was there. Shout out to Bree on the check-in at Camden Yards. It proved to be a pretty good time from what she told us. And then we had a 4-game series up against the Rangers, which we just capped today. It was an afternoon win. Domingo Germán looked phenomenal. But, of course, the biggest takeaway from this series was yesterday evening in Corey Kluber.
Oh, you mean it wasn't that Tyler Wade got a triple yesterday?
Well, I gave Wade his props. Obviously,
completely kidding.
No, I know you are. But triples are pretty hard to come by for the Yanks this year, right? I think Brett Gardner got the Yankees' first triple just like several days ago.
Yeah.
And Tyler Wade followed that up and did some pretty big run support to solidify the win essentially for Kluber. He also tracked down what, you know, in most places would feel like would be a pretty routine fly ball to the outfield. But you and I spoke about this, man. I mean, first of all, Globe Life Field looks like an excellent experience from the area that they have behind home plate, which looks like you're right immersed into the action.
Looks so
They
cool right there, man. It's so cool. Like to have dining tables right behind home plate.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it's a very chill setup as well, right? It's not like a formal seat. It's like, you know, there's just kind of the bar stool with the table so you could stand up. One of the most difficult tasks for me at a game, and it's not because I have ADD or anything, but it's just, you know, sitting down for 3 hours is pretty difficult, and it's gotten me in trouble at other
You like to
ballparks.
stretch out them legs, don't you?
I like to stretch out these little stumps. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
actually, behind the plate looked a lot like how Yankees Tampa spring training looks in right field, where they have that first row, like right up against, like the field, and then they have like those little like tables behind with like stools and whatnot. That was pretty cool. That field looks really nice, man. It looks huge. It looks like it fits 175,000 people in there.
Yeah.
It just looks like multiple levels like everywhere. So it looks cool. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll get to go there one day.
yo, maybe. You know what they say, everything is bigger in Texas. You know, that's what I hear. But
Mm.
yeah, those gaps, they looked pretty intense. And you know, Tyler Wade, prior to that, he had only played one game in the outfield, and he filled in pretty well, man. And you know, I give Tyler Wade a lot of heat, rightfully so, because he hasn't really done much. But yesterday, he definitely showed out with the triple RBI triple, and then you know. Nevertheless, it was still kind of a situation where I held my breath because I wasn't quite sure what to expect. But at
Right.
the end of it, he got the job done. So, yeah, I mean, the resume yesterday pretty much spoke for itself as far as Kluber is concerned. And, you know, I think when we saw him pitch against Baltimore at Yankee Stadium, I think that was sort of the indication that we knew that he was hitting his turning point. One of the
Yeah.
things that a lot of people forget is, you know, he hadn't pitched for 2 years. And when he did pitch for the Rangers, he got 3 outs and then that was it. Right. So it takes a lot to not only build up your strength after not pitching for a while, but also he's 35 years old. So you have to essentially reinvent yourself or find yourself again after having such a long layover of not pitching.
Yeah, and you know what? He has been looking pretty good. From his first couple starts, I think he started to look better. Um, and David Cohn said it best, I think, in his first start, that you'll know a lot more about Kluber after his fifth start. And I think it has started happening sooner than that. But we've been saying every week, I know the group that's been on Clubhouse, every week we talk about how the Kluber's last outing is really good and how nasty he's been. So,
Yeah.
to see that come into fruition for him, great story and all. But, did you know that it was bobblehead, Corey Kluber bobblehead day there?
So I heard that
Is that like true or what?
I think what ended up happening was, so they had a supply of bobbleheads that they were giving out that they couldn't give out last season. So it was essentially like random bobblehead day. So he was one of the bobbleheads that someone could have gotten by going to Globe Life Park or
Gotcha.
Field, excuse me. But yo, isn't that's pretty ironic, man? And it's interesting how baseball always finds a way to create a narrative, to create a story, right? That was where he last pitched before he went on this long hiatus without having pitched his first game back in Texas at Globe Life Field, first time there ever. He goes 9 innings, gives up one walk. Um, it was just absolutely phenomenal. So, and obviously the first no hitter since David Cohn, of course, his was a perfect game, which has been
22 years, bro.
long
22
time.
years.
The 11th in Yankee history, which is fantastic. It's kind of funny that it's already been the sixth no hitter of this season. which that's pretty telling how offensively the league is doing. And just a day after the no hitter in Detroit from Spencer, I forget his last
Turnbull.
Turnbull. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
actually watching that game too. Yeah, I mean, listen, no hitters have been happening. I get it. Right now it's a pitchers league. It seems like, so it doesn't take away for me, man. We haven't had one in 22 years. We've actually haven't really had a close call of one in like 10 years or so.
yeah. The last one was Phil Hughes, right?
Yeah, it was pretty close against Oakland. So yeah, man, this was dope.
I think it's also pretty interesting that, do you realize that those 6 no hitters have only been divided amongst 3 teams in the league? The Mariners, the Indians, and the Rangers. That's
Yo,
crazy.
that's the triple threat of sucks out
Yeah,
there, yo.
that's very telling on how things are going for those ball clubs at the moment. Obviously, not the most ideal, but yeah, to your point, whether it was something that, I guess, for lack of a better term, depreciates because of how often it happens. It's still part of history, and it's even better that it was for the Yankees. So, salute to that. And we do have a short little clip, I guess, to sort of canonize the epic moment for Corey's Yankee no hitter.
Kluber?
Yeah.
Ground ball to Gleyber Torres, and that'll do it. A no-hitter for Corey Kluber. On a Wednesday night in Texas, Kluber becomes part of forever.
The Yankees are hugging.
Kluber becomes part of forever. Yo, you and I spoke about this through text. I didn't have a problem with the whole idea of Michael K, quote unquote, jinxing it because of how much he was talking about it. Like, obviously, overall superstition in baseball exists, but I do know better than that. But I was just saying to you how it just kind of felt like the narrative was being stuffed down our throats as the viewers. Like, it was constantly being mentioned.
Oh, over and over again, man.
Yeah.
Over and over.
Part of the problem is, look, I get it. Like, Yes wants to be able to promote itself, especially like because they have all these teams that are now on their platform, and it's a standalone platform, and people are able to watch it in its own app for the first time. But I feel like everything is just an advertisement. If it's not like what's happening with the Yankees, it's them talking about watching the Nets, being sure that they tune in and watch the Liberty. Oh, and by the way, NYCFC is one of the best teams in MLS right now, which are all great and facts, with the exception of, maybe you could just take it down a little bit. Like, it was already said to me once. I don't need to be reminded of it over and over again.
Yeah, every half inning. Yo, shout out to everyone that's listening in the Facebook group and on YouTube. We got Johnny. What's up, Kevin? Kasem has chimed in here. Jose. You got Andy and Stephen Eng tuning in as well. Welcome, everybody. Lizzie's on. So,
what up, everyone?
Good evening. Good evening. A day after history.
Yo.
I didn't like. I guess I don't really care about saying the words. I'm superstitious like that. So even when Liz and I were watching, we just would look at each other and just be like, something's going on here. You see this? You see this? But then what I didn't like was when they played all the no hitters and perfect games like the inning before, and I was just like, come on, yo, come on.
I get it for from a rating standpoint and perspective, but it's a bit much. It's kind of going overboard, and you're trying too hard, bro. Ultimately, that's what it is. And yeah, blame the streaming wars, because everyone has their own standalone app now. So each of the platforms are trying to justify downloading theirs and being able to watch it. But overall, it was pretty good. Obviously, Cole, didn't look so sharp in game one, but the Yankees rallied and then won the next 3 games, which is a tall task to ask in some cases. And the team really rallied behind that, and Kluber pitched great, and Herman pitched phenomenal today. So highlights of the last month, 20-9, best winning percentage in the last 29 games. The Yankees won the last 9 series, 7 wins with 2 ties, and they've won 6 straight. So, no need to panic, at least for now, because they've turned it around, and I mean, collectively, just the league isn't hitting well. I think there's a league average of like 199, man. And I mentioned how
it's gone down even more, because it was
Yeah.
like 230 something like a few weeks ago.
It's gone down even more, dude. It's a philosophical thing. The baseball has just changed drastically in like how the lower tiers, whether it's like college and through the minor leagues, how these players are being taught to play the game. So yeah, it sucks, but obviously, like everything else, you kind of have to adjust and power through it.
Yeah. We saw Michael K's call. We got to see the Sturls.
The Sturls.
Now here's the 0-1 to Calhoun. Hit on the ground to second. Torres throws to first in time.
Hold on a second. Do you hear Susan?
Oh, yeah.
Was that not everybody? Was that not everybody?
Yeah,
that gasp right there. Listen
Absolutely.
to it.
Now here's the 0-1 to Calhoun. Hit on the ground to second. Torres throws to first in time. Ball game over. Corey Kluber has pitched a no-hitter. Corey Kluber came within one man of a perfect game. He pitches a no-hitter, and the Yankees are delirious on the field, celebrating with Corey Kluber in the middle.
Oh, delirious.
The pitching has been absolutely fantastic. Just even outside of Kluber, we have a debate about our rotation. It just sort of looks like, excuse me, at the moment, Tyone is like the weakest link, although I think he's going to turn it around. He too has to find it again. But we're 7th in the league, man. 3.27 ERA. We're 5-9 when scoring 2 runs or fewer, the best in baseball. We have 7 team shutouts. We're tied with the Dodgers and Giants for the most wins in the league in that category. And how can we not mention Aroldis Chapman, right? The dude's been an absolute beast. 11 for 11 saves, a 0 ERA after facing 62 batters. The dude is just phenomenal and lights out. So, 36K, 17 innings pitched. And this, what I really took from this series, man, I think it's what been waiting to see from this team, right? Low scoring games because of lockdown pitching. And, they weren't really explosive offensively, but the key is that they found a way to string some hits together and get the job done. And this is reminiscent of playoff baseball, a formula to win in October. And if they could continue to do this, and this translates down the stretch through October, the Yankees are going to be a very scary team.
The ingredients, yes. The teams that we've been playing, I mean, of course, the Rays and potentially like the Astros that we had a couple series ago, now 2 weeks ago, yes. But, we have to consistently do that against some of the tougher teams. But you're right. We've been doing that so far, and that's all you can ask for. And to be honest, we're the best team in the majors in the last 30 games. We were one of the worst in the first 15 games, but now we're one of the best. So there's a lot of complaining. There's a lot of things we did wrong. Of course, we can't seem to run the bases. We look like a bunch of jokesters out there running the bases. But you're right, Dan. These are playoff type of games. Like, it has the feeling of the 2-1, the 3-0, like the good pitching performances that the playoffs usually turn out to be.
And also overcoming adversity. don't forget on Monday when we started this, we went into it with the whole news that broke about people testing positive for COVID,
Well,
right?
that was in Tampa. Didn't that was in Tampa? It
I
started
thought
in Tampa.
it started in Tampa.
Yeah, the first game in Tampa was when it first came out, and then we
Okay,
found more. But still, like,
but
but
still,
we were
yeah,
missing Glaber for the beginning of this series.
right. I guess
Uh,
that's what it was. Like just the fact that like we were missing Glaber. Yeah, you're
yeah,
right because he wasn't able to play against the Orioles, and it's
right.
kind of a shame because Glaber generally owns the Orioles. But yeah, I mean, just being able to overcome that, man. Yo, we had no Giancarlo either. He was killing it. And then another big standout too is just the fact that it looks like Aaron Judge has figured it out, at least for now. And that's what you need. If it's not
He's been
clicking,
the best Yankee player so far this year, and guess what? That's not a surprise because he probably is the best player on the team and
yeah,
one of
man,
the best players in the league.
had a big pinch hit today, which was great to see him and Gio. That's typically something that we haven't seen in quite a while. I mean, Gio did it just last week, but the fact that Judge was able to do it, it was the first time in his career. So something's clicking for him, and you hope that Giancarlo isn't out for an extended period of time. But if he is, and if we have the Judge, then all rise, bitches.
Yeah, I don't think Giancarlo will miss that much time. They're not making it seem like it's too serious. But when you play in Tampa, that stupid turf, something's in the air.
Yeah.
It's just someone's getting hurt or someone's feeling achy afterwards, and that ballpark needs to get blown up.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, that might happen. You're seeing the A's are making a push to perhaps leave Oakland. The Rays might see that and try to prompt the city of St. Pete or Tampa to do something. And if not, they might end up going. But Globe Life Field is also turf because it is retractable. Obviously, it's in better shape than it is at the Trop. But that's another reason why we didn't see Judge out in right field for a while, I guess, just as a precaution. But, great series, great run. Totally happy with it. Obviously, one of the biggest takeaways, the injuries. We heard some weird thing about Clint and like him dealing with his neck. Obviously, Hicks is out. And you can't help but wonder as teams are now falling into the area of, hey, this year might not be a year for us. Who are we going to get to solidify the lineup and this team down the stretch, right? And I don't know about you, but I love me a good story, bro. And by bringing that up, that's Trevor's story.
Oh, I see what you did there.
You know what I'm saying?
Left out the Trevor, didn't you?
Let me bring that back.
You left out the Trevor, but you hinted at the Trevor.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So, man, story. It's just about what we would have to give to get him when. I mean, this is a contract year for him, right? So this is his last year. So he's gonna be free, so we can get him. Do you want to wait? Do you want to give up a lot? The Yankees covet their prospects, pretty high. We do as fans sometimes too. But it really depends on what the price is. I don't know. It really depends.
Yeah, well, I mean, MLB Network has him favored in going to the Yankees. For those that don't know about Trevor's stories, the 28-year-old shortstop currently playing in Colorado. This year it's been a pretty decent year for him. He has an on-base percentage of 330. He's batting 258. The good thing about him is that he's pretty much played in every game thus far. 44 games, 179 plate appearances, 41 hits, and he plays a good shortstop. Looks like he's having actually a pretty tough year over there so far, though. He's got 5 errors at short. But I think what would be interesting there is if they were to get him, then what would this shift of the Yankee infield look like, right? Because right now it's pretty full. We got Urshela at third, Glaber at short, DJ at second, and Voit is back now too. So I think that creates a problem. But he is a big time player. Obviously, Colorado is just raised the white flag as soon as they traded Nolan Arenado.
Mm-hmm.
Basically said that they weren't going to do this, so they're in a rebuild mode. So I don't think they'll end up bringing back Story. Another person that they could potentially bring in is Charlie Blackmon, right? He's an outfielder for the Rockies, and we've sort of find ourselves in quite the need for an outfielder at this time, right? With what's going on with Clint. Aaron Hicks is dealing with an injury. I mean, we have Tyler Wade playing in right field, which for now that might be a good thing, but over an extended period of time, you don't know how that works out. So maybe Charlie Blackmon is somebody else the Yanks could go after as well with Colorado.
Yeah, I mean Charlie Blackmon is an interesting one too, but we need outfield help, just like Jose mentioned. And these guys are gonna get like a long leash, that are out there now. The Brett Gardner, even Tyler Wade playing out there now. What's this guy's name that just hit the DL?
Lamar.
Yeah, like these. It's slim pickings out here. You know what I'm saying? Clint is gonna get a long leash. I really wanted to see like a good 2 months of Clint. We're getting pretty close to that, and it's not looking good.
Yeah.
I could definitely see a move, though. I
know a lot of folks were really apprehensive about the idea of them trading Talkman. For those that don't know, Talkman was out of options, and at that point, things were looking pretty good. They actually had an excess amount of outfielders. Obviously, things can change in the blink of an eye, and here we are. But, Talkman really hasn't been killing it in San Francisco, although the team overall, the Giants, they have the best record in baseball at this time. You have to wonder if that's going to be sustainable or not. But the Yankees needed a reliever as well, and Wandy Peralta has been a pretty good pickup for us, man. That formula down the stretch with Wandy, Loaiziga, Green, and Chapman so far has worked out pretty well, and obviously filling the void of Darren O'Day and Zach Britton until they get back. So who knows what they end up doing? Obviously, there's a lot of time from now until the trading deadline, which will be at the end of July. I think Joey Gallo was somebody else that people were talking about maybe getting. Didn't really like too much what I saw from him over this series. That was to our benefit. I thought the best thing that came out of Joey Gallo was him tripping at first base and then making the stencil the next day like a dead body was there, which was absolutely hysterical.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. That was hilarious. Just real quick, for those listening on YouTube, Steven, Andy, or anyone in the Facebook group, make sure you hit a like for the channel. And please share with any other fan you might know. Joey Gallo, we know strikes out a lot, Dan, but I know there's definitely like a Gallo buildup among some Yankee fans that want him. And you never know. Maybe he could be somebody that helps out a lot of people. You see some no Gallo by our man Jose. He doesn't want any more strikeouts.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't impress me. But it's just a series. So
yeah.
I can Dan. I don't know what the pieces are that we would be giving up for people like that. But to me, it's all perspective on what we give up. Because,
right.
Anybody's game. Anybody could work out. There's players that have come here that were not supposed to be anything big, Gio Urshela, and we got them for nothing. But it's just about are we going to give up a lot to get someone, and then the expectations come with that person,
Yeah.
Someone like Story, there's going to be expectations, and there's going to be a heavy, heavy cost.
Right. There always is at the deadline. Every team asks for more when it comes to the Yankees just because they understand that the Yankees are of a winning mindset and mentality and will do anything to win. So with that said, I think the biggest asks that these teams will make will be Jason Dominguez, stud outfielder, And obviously, you have to imagine that Davy Garcia is going to be a big request as well. So those are things to think about, because you hear a lot of great things coming from some pretty well-known players like Pedro Martinez that constantly compliment Davy Garcia, and he's been compared to Pedro as well. And then Jason Dominguez, we've been hearing about him forever. They call him Martian. They say he has a freakish talent. They compared him to Bo Jackson and Mike Trout, so he's in good company. Still hasn't played his first minor league game, but he's only 18 years old, so you wonder where the Yankees go from there. But there are some pretty good, impactful rookies around the league, Johnny boy. And, without getting too much into it, we always like to really highlight just sort of next level talent on what to expect over the next few years. And this actually comes from MLB. So this guy is my favorite, Jazz Chisholm Jr. I'm sure most of you have seen just the noise that he's been making down in Miami. So he's ranked number one. One of the things that I really liked what this kid did was I listened to the R2C2 podcast with Ryan Rucco and CC Sabathia. He was on there, and he often speaks with Derek Jeter. And he said the first thing that he asked Jeter was, how do I become a Hall of Famer? So he's of that winning mindset, that winning mentality. Yeah, but hey, I have him on my fantasy team. The kid steals bases. He's fast. He plays either shortstop or second base. He's got a lot of power too, man. He hits it to dead center. He sits on a lot of fastballs, so he's definitely a kid to look out for. Dylan Carlson, we've pulled his rookie card several times.
I like him, yo. He's been hitting for average, which is hard right now for anybody, but right. I like him. He's been looking pretty good. Yeah, he's on the fantasy squad too. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, okay. I see you, bro. Yeah, switch hitting outfielder. You know that. To your point, he's hitting 287 right now, 379 on base percentage, 472 OPS.
Yeah, what did you think? And we just saw him. What did you think of Adolis Garcia?
He plays the position very well in center field. He's got a lot of power, and it speaks volumes that he pretty much came out of nowhere. Not a lot of people expected him to be in the top as far as rookies are concerned.
No, when you're like a 28, 29-year-old rookie.
Right. Yeah. So he looked pretty good, man. And I was pretty nervous whenever he came up to the plate, especially yesterday during Kluber's no-hitter, because he's that guy that can change everything with one at-bat. And if you have that approach this early in your career, then he's definitely going to be something of a force down the line. So I liked him. I also think Trevor Rogers is pretty good too. He's a left-hand pitcher out of the Marlins organization.
Oh, that Miami, yeah, he's looked good too.
Yeah, so I mean, their starting pitching looks pretty good with him and Sixto Sanchez. He has a 1.84 ERA, which is the fifth best amongst qualified starters. Mm-hmm. He's 23 years old, lefty, 57 strikeouts through 44 innings. He relies on a mid-90s heater, and everything that you see in the Twitter timeline, whenever he pitches, he has a ton of different highlights on there, so that's always a good early sign. And I don't know if he's watching this or if he will at some point, but Javier, your mean Mercedes, DH for the White Sox. He's been all over the place of late with this whole Tony La Russa debacle that went down the other day. We spoke about this quite a bit. Tony La Russa, 76-year-old manager, out of touch with players these days, really made it a point to sort of bash this dude, you're mean. But just like Garcia.
The Yerminator?
The Yerminator, bro. Yo, they love him over there in Chicago. He's got like a beer named after him. He's got a burger named after him. The dude is leading the league in average. Everybody's hurt on the White Sox right now. He's pretty much the reason why they're even in contention. uh, offensively. And it's been known. I heard Buck Showalter talk on the Michael Kay show yesterday. He had Yerman at one point, and it's been known that Yerman is pretty much a player that's about him and his stats. And listen, in this day and age, especially for somebody that's kind of been a little bit of a journeyman, he's looking to get a contract, man. And at this stage in his career, he's killing it. So good for Yerman.
The Yerminator.
Hell yeah. Ian Henderson of the Braves, we saw him earlier this year. He pitched pretty well against us. So he's a right-handed pitcher. 23 years old as well, 3.20 ERA over 45 innings. Randy Arozarena, right? He's ranked number 6 right now. We remember that fool. We see him often. He came out onto the scene against us in the playoffs, right?
By the way, last 2 games, 3 home runs, and he went 4 for 6 today.
And yo, you and I being card collectors, and given that we have his rookie card, that's a pretty good thing. But overall, as being Yankee fans, that's not something that we want to see.
No,
Okay?
as long as he does it against someone else, it's fine.
Right. Michael Kopech from the White Sox. He's a right-handed pitcher as well. He's been killing his thing over there, man. 165 ERA, 40 strikeouts over 27 and a third innings. He's got a fastball slider combo, which is pretty big. They're looking pretty good down in Chicago, man, and this isn't any surprise. Adolis Garcia, which you mentioned earlier, he's at number 7 right now.
Did you mention Nick Madrigal?
No, I didn't. So
he's been looking all right, man.
Yeah, okay.
He's with the White Sox too. He's been looking pretty good. Again, he's more of like a leadoff average hitter, but I think he's been looking all right.
He's also like a super utility guy as well, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. That
second baseman, but he could play the infield.
Yeah, you're cool. That's cool that you're seeing like this resurgence in players being able to play multiple positions. Obviously, this is a thing because of how many pitchers are now carried on the MLB roster. But you got Emmanuel Clase. He's number 9 with the Indians. He's their closer. And I actually just learned yesterday that the Rangers traded him to the Indians for Corey Kluber.
What the hell is even that?
Excuse me?
Exactly. And then Andrew Vaughn is number 10. I don't really know about him much. Apparently, he plays first base and outfield for the White Sox. But he's been coming out onto the scene with the injuries of Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez. So he's been answering the call, and I suppose been doing his thing. Honorable mentions. Nick Madrigal is actually here. Casey Mize, pitcher.
Oh, he had a really good start the other day for the Tigers too. He's been looking good.
Yeah, man. And Jarred Kelenic, bro, he finally got his tap for the Seattle Mariners in his second game. He hit that home run. So big things to hopefully come out of him. The Mets traded him to Seattle for Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz, which is hilarious. The Mets will be the Mets. And, this guy, he's been in the league for a while, man, but I feel like we really haven't had the full taste of his skill yet. And that's Shohei Ohtani, bro, right? Shohei Ohtani came out into the scene, and he immediately hurt his arm, so he had to get Tommy John surgery, and he's been out for a while. But this year, we're starting to see showtime out of Shohei. And I'm going to be completely honest, bro. He is probably my favorite player outside of any Yankee player right now. So
why? Because he pitches and he could play the outfield and he could hit.
Yeah, man.
We used to do this. We used to do this in Little League. Yo, you pitch, you play first. All right, I'll do it. Next, everybody can do this. Everybody.
That's fun, right? It's nostalgic in a sense. And the thing is that he does it very well, right? He'll be challenged out in the outfield. The dude will throw 5 innings and only give up 1 or 2 runs. Oh, and by the way, he's the home run league leader at the moment. So
he passed Judge?
Yeah, he passed Judge, and that's basically his team now for the moment because Mike Trout is out, man, 6 to 8 weeks, right? So Shohei could certainly step up and be the big time talent. Of course, the Yankees were trying to court him into coming to New York, but I think New York was a bit too much for him. That sucks, but Shohei Ohtani is definitely an honorable mention as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do what he's doing, and there really hasn't been anyone doing it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, man.
But I'm just saying, let's calm down. He plays right field. It's not that hard of a position. We've seen Tyler Wade do it. So, pitch. The fact that he can hit and pitch is crazy. But CC can pitch and he can hit, okay?
Oh, true, CC.
He might not be able to play right field, or I mean, he probably would have hurt himself. But no, Ohtani's been crazy. The fact that he's hitting, not just hitting, but hitting at the top level of the league, and then pitching, a very respectable amount. He hasn't pitched that great lately, but he's been pretty good.
He's had a drop in his velocity. I think he's still dealing with some stuff. And remember, the pitchers in Japan operate on a very different schedule than those here in the States. They pitch every 6 days in Japan, and I think they've been trying to keep him on that schedule. Someone actually proposed, Buck Showalter proposed the idea of maybe one day making him a closer. That way he doesn't even have to play the outfield. He doesn't have to pitch extended innings. You don't run the risk of him, getting Tommy John again, and you also get to keep his bat in the lineup. So
yeah, that'd be interesting to see if they do something like that.
Indeed. But a lot of the players that we just mentioned down this list, we're going to be seeing over the next few days, right? For those that are unaware at this point, it's just silly because we've been blasting it every possibility that we can. But mainly John and I just kind of been there along for the ride, just helping out here and there when I can. But John was able to.
What's this? What's this like? Oh, you did this. We do it together.
Well, you're right. But listen, I also want to emphasize how much you've done with this, because obviously the logistics of all of it were very crazy with the new announcement on vaccinated sections and non-vaccinated sections, and constantly having to deal with the ticket reps. So it was a lot, and you were doing that. So I mean,
the most interesting part. Well, yes, I get it, Dan.
Yeah.
The most interesting part was the rep when I asked him the day that Cuomo announced, I think it was the 33%, and then there's going to be vaccinated sections. I forget what day that was. It was a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And then I call the rep, and the rep is like, hey, I don't know why Cuomo would say that because I don't know anything about it. I'm like, we need to know.
Right.
We got a game coming up.
Bro. You better get on Twitter. You better get on Google. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Start spreading the news, right? But the news is we will be at the game on Saturday, May 22nd, for this highly anticipated series against the White Sox. So excited. Very excited. At the moment, the White Sox are statistically the best team in the league. Mentioned how the Yankees are going to be, coming in and looking to continue their streak, their hot streak. The best team, the Yankees, over the last 30 games in the league. So this is set to be a pretty good series, Could be a playoff matchup down the line as well, because it looks like the Twins are completely out of it now. They have just fallen off a cliff, and the White Sox have come into their own, and they now control that division. So where the Yankees normally face the Twins in the ALDS this year, it could be the White Sox. Who knows?
Yeah, if you had to put a top 4 or 5 teams in the AL right now, you're including the Yankees, you're including the White Sox, you could be even including the Astros the way that they've been playing lately. You could be including the Rays or Toronto. But yeah, man, Chicago looks like they're a good team. We kind of knew that this would happen. They face some injuries, but they're still there right now. So
yeah, big time, man. Pitching and
big series, man. Big series. Huge.
It is huge, bro. It is huge, and we're gonna be coming in hot.
Yo, what's up, Manny? Steven on the YouTube. Give a like to the channel. Who else we got in here? We got Jose. We got Lizzie. You know.
Yo,
we got Bree in the building. Bree's in the building.
Yo, we got the usual suspects, and we're going to be seeing a lot of these people on Saturday, which is great, right? It's going to kick off over at Billy's, so we'll get some libations in us, head over to the ballpark. It's going to be a warm day, but luckily we'll be in the shade, right? We don't really have to worry about boiling, right? As a brother, which brother was that would say that again?
We're going to boil.
We're gonna boil. That was our principal, right? In high school.
Yeah.
Say that. I forget his name. But anyway, definitely looking forward to this series. We'll be there on Cold Day, which will be on Saturday. So that's set to be an epic day. And I do know that this series could essentially be, one of these that we'll remember not only for being there firsthand, but also down the line, potentially point back to it and be like, that was a big series separating ourselves from the White Sox, telling them like, yo, welcome to this party, but we've been here before.
Yeah, man. And if this series could be epic, just, these are some of the things that we just saw in this previous series that was epic. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is happiness here. Look beautiful. At this right now.
Absolutely beautiful.
This is an early glimpse of celebratories.
I love it. I'm just looking for more celebration. I'm just looking for more good times, more
Look happiness. At this. 28, number 28 in 28.
Yo, and you alluded to that too, right? Like usually the seasons that resonate in Yankee history, they usually have these things that are like defining moments, and this could be one of those moments that we look back on.
Okay, 99 perfect game. What did we do? Win the World Series. David Cone. Thank you very much, David Cone. 98, David Wells. We won the World Series. Arguably one of the best teams ever, right? 96, the Dockster. No hitter. What did we do? Finally won the World Series. Yeah. It's only fitting. Only fitting that Mr. Number 28 helps us get number 28 in 21 right here. Boom.
We're gonna
lock the Kluber shirt. The Kluber shirt.
Kluber shirt 28, 21. Yo, so as we do our predictions for whatever upcoming series that's coming up. I think you and I are gonna universally be homers again. I'm gonna go a clean sweep against the White Sox at home. We're going to be there. Yankee Stadium's going to be rocking. It's going to be jumping. It's going to be popping.
So excited.
I'm going to go with a nice regular series. I think there's no doubt that we pitch a perfect game on Saturday with Garrett Cole.
Ooh.
Given. That's a given. I'll be at my first no-hitter for the Gate 6 fan there for it. No, listen, I think he needs a big rebound start against potentially a playoff matchup in the White Sox. You saw that he probably had his worst start with the Yankees this last series. Isn't that weird? We just played a 4-game set with the Rangers and we lost the Cole game. And everything else looked really good. So I'm going to predict that Homer John is going to go with a sweep.
Love Homer John, yo.
A sweep with a no. Garrett Cole.
I love it. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you, John. Looking forward to seeing the fam. There's going to be 25 of us there. Yo, we also still have a few tickets available.
Two.
2 tickets available.
Good.
So
Sellout. It's a sellout. Oh my gosh.
Yo, who would have thought that we would have been saying this a year later, that it's a sellout? We're going to be going to a game. We're going to be drinking. We're going to be having a good time. It's going to be phenomenal. So I can't wait. Yo, shout out to everybody that tuned in tonight. As always, you are appreciated. We thank you. We love you. Be safe. Stay healthy. John, what do you got to say, bro?
If the squad ain't with me, then it ain't right. Yeah. Hey. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Hey. 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 Same squad. Drop, coupe, dodge, raindrops. Big back plays on FaceTime. Squad ain't with me, then it ain't